Hello, class. Mr. Offer. We're on section 8. Yes, we've left the office. It's a very pretty spring day. You see the wind blowing behind me. Hopefully, I have squirrels that run back on this fence. Hopefully, they won't bother you. But this is going to be a four-part series on section 8. And this is the Jefferson, what we call the Jeffersonian uh, democracy. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And again, guys, I always refer to the fact if you see me looking, I'm looking at a PowerPoint. I'm teaching off that PowerPoint, which you really need to pay attention to that PowerPoint. Jefferson is our third president. Remember, we talked about the fact that you had Washington's the first, Adams, and then Jefferson. Jefferson, and guys, Jefferson is another one of these guys I could spend an entire 2-hour lecture just talking about Thomas Jefferson. If you ever get a chance to go to Monticello, it's up in Virginia, go to Monticello. That was Jefferson's house. A lot of people don't know you've seen pictures of Monticello your whole life. Look on a nickel. On the back of the nickel is Monticello. The front is Jefferson's portrait. Jefferson, to kind of sum it up, guys, Jefferson is a Renaissance man. He is a philosopher, he's a writer, he's an inventor, he's an architect. Jefferson's a very smart guy. Under Jefferson's administration, we're going to cover in this section the Louisiana Purchase. Louisiana, you had these two guys, you had Livingston and Monroe were sent to contact representatives of Napoleon to buy the port of New Orleans. Now, what's very important, guys, in this lecture is they only had authorization to buy the port of New Orleans. They go there, the city of New Orleans is what they're going to buy. Napoleon will offer them everything. We're talking about the entire Louisiana Purchase. It will be the biggest real estate deal ever. It will double the size of the United States. I think they buy this thing for like 3 cents an acre. So under Jefferson's administration, the United States will double. Remember, guys, if you had that visual picture, you've got the East Coast where the 13 colonies are, okay? And now the Louisiana Purchase, which comes out of New Orleans, and it kind of snakes up and it comes all the way up. So now you have doubled the size of the United States with this one purchase, and it will occur under Jefferson's administration. And it's always funny because Jefferson, guys, Jefferson believed in small government. Remember, Jefferson was your agricultural guy. He did not believe in a national bank. He did not believe in big government. But under Jefferson's administration, the United States will double. And that's always something I like to put there. And then you will see where Jefferson will send out Lewis and Clark. Meriwether Lewis and William Clark are sent out. And they're sent out to explore this new area. And there's that again is an entire lecture that I could talk about the Lewis and Clark. They will go all the way across out of Missouri, and they will go all the way up into what is today Oregon to the coast, and they will document all this stuff. The interesting thing about Lewis and Clark, and I don't want to spend too much time, but as children, we've learned about Lewis and Clark. If you ever seen Night at the Museum, more people probably learn more about Lewis and Clark at that movie. But Jefferson will fund these guys all this money to go on this trip. And what Jefferson wants them to do is to collect all these journals, write a paper, and then present it back to him. Kind of like a student. You're going to write an essay, and you're going to present it. They go out there and they have this big adventure, and they collect all kind of samples. They got massive notes, and they never write anything back. These guys are maybe the world's greatest procrastinators. Guys, we talked about Aaron Burr and Hamilton. They come up. The Barbary Pirates, really quick, were a group of pirates that were coming in. They're a lot like today we deal with the Somalian pirates. That's that group that comes in. They seize naval vessels in the countries, pay them, and they let them go. They had the same thing then. Then it was called the Barbary Pirates. Under Jefferson's administration, they will form a group of men to send them out, and that will be some of the first. When if I have any guys that eventually will go to the United States Marine Corps, when you hear that song from the shores of Tripoli, that is a guy named Decatur, who is the famous Marine, and the Marines will be sent over there. That's kind of an interesting story. When we pick this thing up, guys, we're going to quickly get with the War of 1812. That's going to be session 2. So in this session, we talked about Thomas Jefferson. He steps in. He's our 3rd president. Under Jefferson, you have the Louisiana Purchases bought. That'd be a good quiz question, probably. Okay. We talked about Lewis and Clark are sent out. And we talk about the Barbary Pirates. So these are really quick sessions that we're talking about. We'll follow it up with the War of 1812 when we get to part 2. Again, this is session 8, part 1. We'll get to part 2, and hopefully we'll still be here in the yard. See you then.